Hello, everybody, and welcome to True North EV. Had a little brain fart for a moment there. We're sitting here at Leo Mole Gardens in Assiniboine Park, charging up, and just looking and pondering articles and pictures of the new Tesla Cybertruck. The specs on it are extremely impressive for anybody that would be looking at a truck for actual truck reasons. Which it seems like nowadays isn't a lot of people. Most people just want a truck, which, hey, that's fine. But the looks, it's essentially triangles put together. Very divisive. Except, when I saw it, I hated it. I hated the look. But it's starting to grow on me. It's something very different, funky. And I could see somebody with a business really loving it because it is such a head turner. People are going to look at it. And you got your company name all over that. They'll at least see your company name. Good thing, bad thing, that's up to you. A lot of podcasts that I am listening to are talking about how construction workers would hate to pull up to a job site with it. Which, I think if you're a construction worker, like if you own the construction shop, again, you got that massive billboard of a vehicle. It's similar width and length as a Ford F-150. So you got that nice little billboard to put your name all across it. The other great thing about it in a construction site is it has 120 plugs and 240 plugs. So you don't even need to bring a generator with you to site. You can basically work right from your truck. It even has an air compressor that you can use. So I'm not totally sure why a construction worker be turned off other than the looks. But again, that is people's personal preferences, right? Like, I know I don't need a generator very often, but sometimes it'd be nice if the power goes out, you can right away have that immediate backup type deal. But just to go over a couple of things, just like how we did with the Mach-E. Let's start from the outside, and we'll work our way inside. So, as I said, basically, triangle, very flat vehicle, but it's flat on purpose. It's made out of extremely hard-rolled stainless steel, which apparently the equipment to actually get any sort of curves or bends in it would be extremely massive. So make it flat. Make it cost efficient. Which, especially if you're looking at trucks nowadays, they're not cheap vehicles. They're very expensive. Like, you can get into $100,000 price tags on a truck. So with this, you're going to have massive durability. It's thick stainless steel. It's literally bulletproof up to a 9mm handgun. Or I guess any gun, really. 9mm gun, 9mm bullet. Which is crazy impressive, and I'm not sure. I know here in Canada, you need a permit for armored vehicles and like any sort of bulletproof vest type deal. So I'm not sure how that factors into the material being made that this Cybertruck is being made out of. If you would need a special permit or how that works, but I guess we'll see in the next couple of years. And then with the outside, with the looks, with that stainless steel look, you don't have to worry about scratches. You don't have to worry about paint. It's not painted. It's basically, you get a scratch in it, you take, I forget what it was, Scotch-Brite, or I think it was Scotch-Brite, and you basically just go over the scratch and it's gone. Biggest thing you have to worry about is fingerprints, which I'd rather fingerprints than scratches, so I'm okay with that. It has massive sails behind the C-pillar, connecting the C-pillar basically to the, they call it a vault. Most trucks call it a box. To the vault tailgate, essentially. But that is going to be storage compartments, which I find fantastic, as might as well make the most amount of storage, have tools kind of in all its little corners and nooks and crannies. Like, I know for work I drive a Ford F-150, and it's got one of those the bigger toolboxes on it, that just kind of take up, what is it, 1.5 feet, 2 feet of space out of the already 6.5 foot box. So now, if you can actually take all those tools and drills and all that is in there and just put them in the side, you now still have 6.5 feet of actual box space, instead of the now 4.5, 5 feet of space that I deal with. So I think that's fantastic. With tailgate has actually a ramp built into it, and which I find fantastic. I have short legs, so even climbing up onto the box at work in the truck, it's an exercise. So to have a ramp to load stuff, unload stuff, makes it so much easier, and going by workplace health and safety is a lot safer. So I love that they've thought of that sort of stuff. In the tailgate, there's even a place to put the hitch. So the hitch sits in the tailgate. You don't even have to worry about that jangling around in the box or the vault. Tonneau cover, it has a built-in, to me it reminds me of those storefront security garage door type style deal, which I think is fantastic that it's built in and it sits up high. Like, it actually follows the triangle essentially from the roof all the way down, so you get a lot more height at the, I'm going to call it the front of the box, closest to the cab where the occupants sit, which you can then put taller stuff in there and have it still covered. I think that's fantastic. So the glass is supposed to be armored metal glass. I'm not sure what they mean. Talking with others, they think it is more similar to, let's say, your normal windshield glass, where it's that laminated glass, so you can get almost a stone chip, but you're not having stuff come through. Where if you've ever had your side windows broken in, the side windows just shatter into little tiny pieces. Where this one won't do that. Like, they threw a massive ball bearing at it multiple times beforehand, and it would just bounce off. Where they did it on stage, and it basically shattered. Afterwards, they've talked about it. It shattered because when the designer, Franz von Holzhausen, was going at the body to show that it can handle the impact of a sledgehammer, he apparently accidentally cracked the corner of it. And so that's why it shattered, apparently. There is video out there of them throwing stuff at the window beforehand and it just bouncing off and being fine. Either way, I'm personally happy with that. Nothing ever actually got inside the vehicle. So you're going to be protected either way. The lights on the vehicle were a little weird. They were just like strip headlights going all the way from the passenger side to the driver's side. And that was both the headlights and the taillights. Found those, they're nice but weird. I'm not sure what kind of rules there are in regards to the lights, if they have to be like in the headlight section, like certain areas, or if they can be spread out like that. Not totally sure, but I guess we'll see, because there was stuff on there that they are like, they still had the mirrors, no mirrors. They had cameras for the mirrors, which they've been trying to get going since the beginning, since the Model S. So we'll see if they're able to get this going and actually get those headlights going, the taillights going, the lack of mirrors. So I guess we'll see in a couple of years. Right now, I think most of those stuff is the way it was, would not pass the law. I'm not sure. I don't think it's the National Highway Traffic Safety Act. I'm not sure who actually says what's allowed. But gorgeous. I'm starting to find the look of it actually really nice. It's very simplistic. It still has a frunk. It's apparently small. I haven't seen any pictures of the frunk yet. The trunk almost has another trunk inside, or I guess the vault has a little trunk in it, which I like, because I always carry like a shovel, a first aid kit, little knick-knack tools and whatever, ropes and all that. You could throw it down into that little trunk area. You don't have anything rolling around in the box. Even for my work stuff, I can have a whole bunch of stuff just thrown in there. Don't even worry about it then. We got the vault is lit up. It has lights that pretty much, I think they actually go all the way around the vault. Strip LED lights, which I think are fantastic. It just lights, like they were doing the ride, taking people for a test ride at night, and they had those lights on. It lights up that box unbelievably. So if you're unloading, let's say you get to a campsite late or whatever, you're trying to unload and it's already dark, you at least can see everything that you're trying to grab. You can see where that tent peg rolled off to or whatever. Not that there's any spaces for it to hide in, but yeah. So I think that's pretty amazing. Interior was, I guess, plain, but that's sort of what they're going for. It's your regular 6-seat setup for a truck. It's bench seating across front and back, with the front middle seat being able to fold down into 3 cup holders. 17-inch, what would it be, landscape screen to that everything's displayed on, just like the Model 3. And then we got the back seat. Underneath the back seat, there's more storage. So there's tons of storage kicking around in this truck. So yeah, they didn't talk any, I haven't seen anywhere talking about if the back seats are going to be heated or anything. I guess it'd probably be similar to all their other vehicles. I would assume, but going by the price, I wouldn't put it past them if they decided to not heat it. But yeah, the motor, I guess the setup here, or it's initially going to be your standard range, single motor in the back, with, what was it, 200-mile range. So you're looking at about, call it 300 kilometers. You move up to a dual motor, which will then be it's going to be the same setup as the Model S, with the Model 3 motor, performance motor in the front, and then your normal Model S motor in the back. That's going to only give you an extra 50-mile range, so you're looking at about 70-80 kilometers. So you're maybe getting up to that 400-ish kilometer mark. The big battery setup, it's actually going to have, they call it a stacked battery setup and tri-motor. So you're going to have 3 motors, 2 motors on the back, and then 1 motor on the front. Plus you're going to have essentially 2 battery packs sitting on top of each other. But I was looking at, Motor Trend actually got exclusive access to the truck even before it was unveiled. So, and they put out an article for it, but they're talking about even the horsepower and torque on it. Tesla wouldn't actually tell them what kind of power they're putting out, but Motor Trend is estimating 690 horsepower and 824 pound-feet of torque for the twin motor setup. So that's just the 2 motors, dual motor setup, which you're like exceeding a lot of diesel motors at that point with that torque. You could be hauling stuff and still be racing the kids in their little sports cars. The 3 motor setup is actually, they're estimating 800 horsepower and 1,000 pound-feet of torque, which is just ridiculous. Like, you're going to be looking at picking up new sets of tires quite regularly for this thing. So it will be an interesting setup. You're definitely not going to have any issues hauling anything with that. In regards to, you still have that flat body pan, essentially, protecting the battery, and it actually goes to protecting like the whole motors and suspension and everything. Elon Musk wanted everything to be as compact and easy as possible, which, especially here in Manitoba, we get a lot of snow. It will be nice to have that flatness and air suspension that can go up and down with all this snow. You can easily, if there's a lot more snow, easily just raise it up and go through. You don't have to worry about high siding or anything with some of these massive ruts that are in lovely Winnipeg's back lanes, because we know how great the back lanes are cleared. So, because I've been stuck right on there, but with this you can just lower or raise whatever you need and get yourself out. But although I'm sure it's a lot harder to do, I've done it only in little cars where the wheels basically fit right into the divot. Yeah, wintertime, I think this is gonna be nice, though, again, with the raising and lowering. You're gonna be able to, with the air compressor, if you rinse off your truck, you have the air compressor and just blow out all the door, so you don't have to worry about your doors freezing shut. But you don't even have to wash it. It's stainless steel. It's not going to rust. You're not going to have to worry about any sort of body damage or anything like that. And if you happen to slide on ice and, bump into a pole or whatever, you might have the pole's paint color on the vehicle, but you're not going to have a dent. You basically just, again, take a Scotchy, rub out the paint color, you're good. So I think it's going to be that perfect winter vehicle. And obviously, truck 4x4, you're going to have that traction, as long as you have a good set of tires on. I do know of one person that has put in an order and is actually looking at the tri-motor setup, just because they need the range because they haul a boat to the lake in the summer. There's no charger out there, so they're going to need that range, and that's probably what I'll be going for if the wife lets me go with the cybertruck. Obviously, it's going to be 5 years down the road, so we'll see how everything is going then. But probably the long range, because it's with the tri-motor setup, the battery stack, you're looking at about 800 kilometers range. That's equivalent to about 500 miles, which is ridiculous. Like, going with most of our trips, you'd only need to stop and charge 3 times, 2-3 times max, to get kind of anywhere we're going. But you just never have to worry about it, even at that. So I love that idea. I love the camping in the truck. Basically, you have all your little amenities, and you don't have to worry about, quickly getting to a site to get your tent or whatever set up, especially if it's raining or whatever. You just hang out in the vault and have a little camp out there. I'm not sure if that I've seen pictures with essentially a tent and little kitchen setup in the Cybertruck from Tesla. Obviously, because you can use a convection cooktop on it with the plugins and all that. But I'm not sure if there's any sort of heat or air conditioning that you can pump into the vault, so you can even have a little more luxury with it, like you could with the Model X. So I guess we'll find out a little more of that. Not that it matters. Like, to me, I'm basically sleeping in a tent anyways, so if it gets really bad, you just climb into the cab and you turn on heat or air conditioning and you're all good. But yeah, overall I think it was a great truck. Very polarizing, but I think with the low price, you're gonna have also those fleet companies that just go off whatever's the lowest price is what they'll buy. So I think that might actually benefit this. The prices were $39,000 US for just your rear motor standard range truck. You got so 39, then you move up to a dual motor, you're looking at 49,000, and then the tri-motor stacked batteries, you're then moving up to 69,000. That's all US pricing, but that's still incredibly cheap for all the stuff you're getting with it. So I think fleets are gonna have to look at it, and once fleets start looking at it, then you're at least gonna have that used truck market then, because most fleets turn over 5 to 10 years type deal, depending on how they actually adjust. Like if it's a mileage deal at, let's say, 100,000 kilometers or 100,000 miles, we get rid of the vehicle. I know with my company, it's when they purchase a vehicle, they factor in, I'm not sure of the actual dollar value, but let's call it $50,000 worth of maintenance. So once the vehicle hits $50,000 worth of maintenance, that's when it goes to auction. So I guess if we're going by the maintenance side of it, fleets would probably carry these vehicles a lot longer. At least they wouldn't have to worry about the vehicles rusting or anything. And with the essentially body that you can't dent, might actually even be good for fleets. You look at, let's say, police, fire trucks. I was hearing some stuff about ambulances. I don't know how it would do for an ambulance, but police and fire trucks, like, I could see police using it. It's incredibly quick. You go with the tri-motor deal. It's got more or equal range to any of the vehicles that they're currently using. But those vehicles couldn't keep up with the vehicles that this cybertruck could. With having the body the way it is, you then, when they use the vehicle to coax people one way or another, you at least wouldn't have to worry about the body damage to it. With regards to the fire trucks, I'm thinking not replacing an actual fire truck, but you get those support vehicles that I could see it easily taking this position of. So basically, even having extra gear or whatever in, I think it would work great for. Maybe even one of those trucks that cover the little brush fires and all that. We got a few of them here in Winnipeg. They're essentially, I think, F350s, F450s, somewhere in there. And just have, obviously you'd have to redesign, but they essentially just have a big water tank in them and just cover like little grass fires and all that. But then still support the fire crews as they're working on whatever. But yeah, I definitely see it as a great company vehicle. I would love to talk my father-in-law, who does construction, into it. He's got a Dodge Ram 3500 diesel truck. I think his only deal would be essentially, well, his would be range and looks. The looks are very polarizing, as I have already said. So I'm hoping that they actually come out with two trucks, maybe one that stays with the look that they showed, and maybe one more truck-ish, more your classic truck look. But we'll see. We're getting close to that 30-minute mark, so I think that's all for now. If you guys have any other questions or comments about what I've said, or want to correct me on it, or have other topics you'd like to hear about, you guys can reach me at truenorthev@gmail.com. And if you're in the Manitoba area and you want to check out meeting with like-minded people that are interested in EVs in Manitoba, you can check out the Manitoba Electric Vehicle Association. We actually have a meeting this coming Thursday at the University of Manitoba. And if you're looking for other podcasts to listen to, I highly recommend Kilowatt. They're a great source of different knowledge, like stuff that I wouldn't have even thought of. So there's all sorts of great podcasts out there. And yeah, you guys have yourself a great week. Bye.